The stars looked the same as they always had, but Jake Morrison knew everything was about to change. He stood on the bridge of his ship, watching the view screen show empty space around Earth's moon. His hands gripped the metal rail in front of him. The ship was so quiet he could hear his own breathing. "Captain, the alien ship is moving into position," said Lisa Parker from her station. She was his best officer, calm and smart. Her fingers moved across the control panel without making a sound. Jake nodded. The Zephyrian cruiser looked like a giant crystal floating in space. It was beautiful and deadly at the same time. The aliens inside thought they owned the galaxy. They had ruled for 3,000 years. Every world they found became their property. Every species they met became their slaves. Today, that was going to end. "How many ships do we have out there?" Jake asked quietly. 37, sir," Lisa answered. "All invisible, all ready." Jake smiled. The aliens had no idea they were surrounded. The Zephyrians were proud and stupid. They thought humans were just animals who had barely learned to fly between planets. They thought one ship would be enough to make Earth surrender. They were wrong. The alien captain was named Riksdal. Jake had studied his file. The creature was typical of his species, arrogant and cruel. Right now, Riksdal was probably laughing at the silly humans who dared to ignore his demands. "Admiral Sullivan is on the line," said Tony Martinez from the communications station. He was young but steady under pressure. "Put her through," Jake said. Kate Sullivan's face appeared on the screen. She looked tired but determined. She had spent 5 years building humanity's secret fleet. 5 years of hiding ships in the asteroid belt. 5 years of developing technology that could make entire warships disappear. "All ships are in position," Kate said. "The alien is about to make his move." Through the view screen, Jake watched the crystal ship begin to glow. Energy was building up in its weapons. The alien captain was getting ready to show Earth what happened to planets that didn't obey the Empire. "He's charging his main gun," Lisa reported, targeting the moon base. Jake felt anger burn in his chest. The moon base was home to 50,000 people. Scientists, engineers, families. The alien was going to kill them all just to prove a point. "Sir, we're getting a transmission from the alien ship," Tony said. "Let's hear it." The voice that came through the speakers was cold and electronic. The translation computer made it sound human, but Jake knew the thing speaking was nothing like them. "Primitive humans of the third planet. I am Commander Riksdal of the Imperial Fleet. Your time of independence is over. You will provide tribute of 1 million of your people and all your mineral resources. You have 1 hour to comply. If you refuse, your moon will be destroyed as an example." The transmission ended. Silence filled the bridge. Jake looked at his crew. Lisa was checking her weapon systems. Tony was monitoring alien communications. Steve Blake, his flight commander, was watching the scanner that showed nothing but empty space around the alien ship. The scanner was lying. Hidden in that empty space were 37 human warships. Each one was invisible to every sensor the aliens had. Each one carried enough firepower to crack a moon in half. "Captain," Steve said, "the alien is moving toward the moon." "He's not." Waiting for an answer, Jake activated his communicator. All around Earth, hidden captains were waiting for his words. "This is Morrison. The alien thinks we're afraid. He thinks we'll beg for mercy. He thinks we're just animals." He paused, watching the crystal ship grow brighter as its weapons charged. "He's about to learn different. All ships, prepare to decloak on my mark." The alien ship was beautiful as it moved through space. Its crystal hull caught starlight and threw it back in rainbow colors. Inside, Riksdal was probably feeling very pleased with himself. Another easy conquest for the Empire. Another primitive species to add to their collection. The ship stopped moving. Its main weapon was fully charged now, pointed directly at humanity's largest moon base. In a few seconds, 50,000 people would die. Then the alien would turn his weapon on Earth itself. "Sir, he's about to fire," Lisa said. Jake took a deep breath. Everything humanity had worked for came down to this moment. 5 years of secret preparation. 5 years of building ships that couldn't be seen. 5 years of waiting for this exact situation. Admiral Sullivan, he said into his communicator. Kate's voice came back immediately. I'm here, Jake. Give the order. On the view screen, Jake watched Kate's face change. The tiredness fell away. The worry disappeared. What was left was pure determination. All ships, Kate said, her voice carrying to every hidden vessel in the solar system. Decloak and fire. Jake felt his ship come alive around him. The quantum, dampening field that had kept them invisible shut down. Energy flowed into weapons that had been waiting years to be used. On the view screen, 37 points of light appeared around the alien cruiser. 37 human warships materialized from nothing, their guns already aimed and ready. The alien captain had just enough time to scream. Then the lights went out on the crystal ship forever. Jake watched the explosion bloom across space like a deadly flower. Where the proud Zephyrian cruiser had been, there was now only empty darkness and drifting debris. Target destroyed, Lisa reported. All ships, return to stealth mode and disperse, Kate ordered. This is just the beginning. Jake knew she was right. Soon the aliens would realize they had lost a ship. They would send more vessels to investigate. They would discover that the primitive humans were not what they seemed. The war for Earth's freedom had begun. The pieces of the alien ship were still glowing when they hit Earth's atmosphere. Jake Morrison watched them burn up like shooting stars through his bridge windows. Each streak of light was a piece of the Zephyrian cruiser that had thought humans were easy prey. Cleanup complete, Captain, Lisa Parker reported from her station. No trace of the enemy vessel remains. Jake nodded. Dr. Alan Hughes had designed their weapons well. The energy blasts didn't just destroy ships, they broke them down to atoms. Nothing would be left for other aliens to study. Tony, any alien. Communications? Jake asked. Tony Martinez shook his head. Nothing, sir. The ship went silent before it was destroyed. No distress signal got out. That was good. It would buy them time. But Jake knew time was something they didn't have much of. The aliens would notice when their ship failed to report back. On the other side of the galaxy, Emperor Vextar was sitting on his crystal throne. The palace around him was made of the same glowing material as his warships. Everything in the Zephyrian Empire was designed to show power and wealth. The Emperor was old even by his species' standards. He had ruled for 800 years. In all that time, no one had dared to challenge him. No species had ever destroyed one of his ships. My lord, said General Krexavon as he entered the throne room. His armor clinked with each step. We have lost contact with Commander Riksdal. Vextar barely looked up from the reports he was reading. Trade figures from conquered worlds, tribute payments from slave species, the usual business of empire. Lost contact? What do you mean? His ship was supposed to report back from the human system 6 hours ago. We have heard nothing. The Emperor finally looked at his general. Krexvon was his best military commander, but even he was soft compared to the old days. Modern Zephyrians had never fought a real war. The humans probably begged for more time, Vextar said with a laugh. Riksdal is enjoying their fear. He will report when he is ready. But Krexvon looked worried. My lord, our protocols require regular contact. Something may have happened. What could happen? They are primitives with chemical rockets. One of our cruisers could destroy their entire world. Back in the Sol system, Jake was meeting with his senior officers in the ship's conference room. The table was round, made from earth steel. No fancy crystal here, just solid human engineering. How long before they send another ship? Asked Steve Blake. Alan Hughes pulled up a holographic display showing Zephyrian territory. The map was huge. Thousands of star systems under alien control. Based on their communication patterns, they'll expect a report within 48 hours, Alan said. When they don't get one, they'll investigate. What will they send? Lisa asked. Probably a squadron, maybe 6 ships. They'll want enough firepower to handle whatever they think happened to the first one. Jake smiled grimly. Let them come. We'll be ready. Colonel Rick Stone had been quiet during the meeting. Now he spoke up. What about ground defenses? If any alien ships get through to Earth? They won't, Jake said firmly. But if they do, your Marines will handle them. Rick nodded. His soldiers were hidden all over the solar system. Each base was invisible like the ships, protected by the same quantum-dampening technology. On Nexus Prime, Dr. Zalkar was working, late in his laboratory. He was the Empire's chief scientist, responsible for keeping their technology ahead of any possible enemies. Lately, that had been easy work. Most species they conquered were centuries behind Zephyrian science. The door to his lab opened and General Krexavon walked in. "Doctor, I need your opinion on something," the general said. Zalkar looked up from his experiments. "What is it?" "We've lost contact with a ship in the human system. The Emperor thinks it's nothing, but I'm concerned." "Concerned about humans?" Zalkar laughed. "They barely have fusion power. Their weapons are chemical explosives." "That's what our records say, but what if we're wrong?" The scientist stopped laughing. "Wrong how?" "What if they're more advanced than we thought? What if they've been hiding their true capabilities?" Zalkar considered this. In 800 years of conquest, no species had ever surprised them, but that didn't mean it was impossible. "Send a probe," he suggested. "Something small and fast. If there's any danger, it can escape and report back." Krexavon shook his head. "The Emperor wants to send a battle squadron. He says it will teach the humans proper respect." "How many ships?" 12. Zalkar felt a chill run through his crystal body. 12 ships was enough to sterilize a planet. If the humans were really as primitive as they seemed, it would be massacre. But if they weren't... Admiral Kate Sullivan was in her command center under the moon's surface. Dozens of screens showed the positions of human ships throughout the solar system. Each green dot was the invisible warship waiting for orders. "Admiral," called Beth Collins from her engineering station. "We're picking up movement from the alien border." Kate turned to look at the long-range sensors. A formation of ships was moving toward Earth. 12 vessels, much larger than the first one. "Time to arrival?" Kate asked. 36 hours at current speed. Kate activated her communication system. Throughout the solar system, 37 ship captains were waiting for her voice. "All vessels, this is Admiral Sullivan. The aliens are coming in force. 12 ships this time. They think they're going to avenge their lost cruiser." She paused, looking at the tactical display. The alien formation was strong, but they were still flying blind. They had no idea what they were walking into. "We're going to teach them the same lesson we taught the first one. All ships begin moving to intercept positions. Remember, they can't fight what they can't see." Amy Rodriguez was captain of the Ghost Strike, one of the newer stealth ships. She had been hoping for action since the fleet was formed. Now she was going to get it. "Set course for Intercept Point Alpha," she told her crew. "We're going hunting." The alien battle squadron moved through space like crystal sharks. They were beautiful and deadly, their hulls reflecting starlight in patterns that had once meant terror to 1,000 worlds. But they were heading into a trap they couldn't see or understand. Humanity had spent 5 years preparing for this moment. 5 years of building invisible ships and training silent crews. The aliens were about to learn that being the hunter was different from being the prey. The 12 Zephyrian warships moved through space like a pack of crystal wolves. Each one was twice the size of the ship that had been destroyed. Their weapons could turn planets into dust. Their shields could stop any known attack. Captain Luxani commanded the lead vessel. She was different from most Zephyrians, careful and smart instead of just proud. Something felt wrong about this mission, but she couldn't say what. "Entering the human system now," reported her navigation officer. "Sensors full sweep. I want to know everything that's out there." The sensor officer worked his controls. "Nothing, Captain. The system appears empty except for the planets and their moons." Luxani frowned. Where was Commander Riksdal's ship? "It should be orbiting the human world collecting tribute and slaves. Instead, there was nothing. Check for debris, any sign of the Crystal Fang." Minutes passed. The sensors found nothing. It was as if Riksdal's ship had never existed. Hidden in the darkness around them, 6 human ships watched and waited. Amy Rodriguez commanded the ghost strike from her invisible position. She could see all 12 alien vessels on her screens, but they couldn't see her. All ships, this is Rodriguez, remember the plan. We hit them fast and hard, then disappear. Don't give them time to think. The other captains confirmed they were ready. Jake Morrison's Silent Thunder was positioned above the alien formation. Lisa Parker had her weapons locked on 3 targets, at once. Begin attack, Amy ordered. Space erupted in light and death. 6 human ships appeared from nowhere, their guns already firing. The aliens barely had time to scream before half their fleet was destroyed, but Captain Luxani was faster than the others. As her ship shook from human weapons, she activated the emergency beacon. All ships, we are under attack by invisible enemies. Repeat, invisible enemies. Transmitting sensor data now. Her ship exploded a second later, but the message was already racing towards Zephyrian space at faster than light speed. On Nexus Prime, Emperor Vextar was eating his morning meal when General Krexvon burst into his dining hall. The general's face was pale with shock. My lord, we've received an emergency transmission from Captain Luxani's squadron. What does it say? Krexvon played the recording. Luxani's terrified voice filled the crystal hall. All ships, we are under attack by invisible enemies. The Emperor dropped his eating utensil. Invisible enemies? What does that mean? We also received sensor data before the transmission ended. Dr. Zalkar is analyzing it now. They found the scientist in his laboratory, staring at holographic displays that showed the last moments of the Zephyrian squadron. Energy readings spiked from empty space. Massive weapons fired from locations where nothing should exist. This is impossible, Zalkar whispered. The humans have technology that makes their ships completely invisible to our sensors. Vextar studied the data. How is this possible? Our intelligence said they were primitives. Our intelligence was wrong, my lord. Very wrong. The Emperor felt something he hadn't experienced in centuries. Fear. If humans had invisible ships, what else might they have? How many other species in his empire might have hidden capabilities? How many ships did we lose? All 12, my lord. The entire squadron was destroyed in minutes. Back in the Sol system, Dr. Alan Hughes was examining pieces of alien technology recovered from the battle. Tony Martinez worked beside him, trying to decode Zephyrian communications. Their language is complex, but I'm getting the basics, Tony said. They're calling emergency meetings across their empire. Word is spreading about invisible human ships. Alan smiled. Good. Fear is a weapon too. The more scared they get, the more mistakes they'll make. Admiral Kate Sullivan joined them in the laboratory. What have you learned about their technology? It's advanced, but old, Alan replied. They haven't innovated in centuries. They've been so dominant that they stopped trying to improve. What about their weapons? Powerful, but designed to fight visible targets. They have no defense against enemies they can't see. Kate nodded. Then we keep using that advantage. How many more ships can we build? With Earth's full industrial capacity? Maybe 200 more stealth vessels in the next 6 months? Start building them. We're going to need every ship we can get. President Helen Davis was meeting with her war council in an underground bunker beneath Washington. The room was filled with humanity's best military minds. The aliens know we exist now, she said. They know we destroyed 2 of their fleets. What comes next? Colonel Rick Stone spoke first. They'll send everything they have. 1,000 ships, maybe more. This will be a fight for our survival. Can we win against those numbers? The president asked. Kate Sullivan answered through a video link from Luna Base. We have advantages they don't understand. Our ships are invisible. Our weapons are more advanced than they realize. And we have something they lost long ago. What's that? The will to fight for our freedom. They've grown soft ruling over slaves. We're fighting for our homes, our families, our future. On Nexus Prime, Emperor Vextar was pacing in his throne room. Reports were coming in from across the Empire. Subject worlds were asking questions about the invincible Zephyrian fleet. Some were even talking about rebellion. We must crush these humans quickly, he told Krexvon, before other species get ideas about resisting us. What do you propose, my lord? Gather the Grand Fleet, every ship we have, 500 vessels. We'll turn their entire system into dust. Dr. Zalkar cleared his throat. My lord, perhaps we should study their technology first. Learn how they achieve invisibility. There's no time for study. We must show the galaxy that challenging the Empire means death. But even as Vextar spoke, he could see doubt in his general's eyes. For the first time in 3,000 years, the Zephyrian Empire looked weak, and weakness once shown was hard to hide. Jake Morrison stood on his bridge watching the stars. Somewhere out there, the largest alien fleet in history was preparing to attack Earth. 500 ships against humanity's hidden defenders. Are you ready for this, Captain? Lisa Parker asked. Jake smiled. We've been preparing our whole lives for this fight. Our parents dreamed of the day humans would be free to explore the galaxy. Our children will inherit that dream. He turned to face his crew. The aliens think numbers will save them. They think visible ships can fight invisible ones. They're about to learn that humanity doesn't surrender. We don't bow to empires, and we don't lose when we're fighting for our home. The greatest battle in galactic history was about to begin. The largest fleet in galactic history approached Earth like a crystal storm. 500 Zephyrian warships moved in perfect formation, their hulls gleaming with deadly beauty. Each ship carried enough firepower to destroy a city. Together, they could burn entire worlds. General Krexvon stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Glory. Through the massive view screen, he could see Earth growing larger ahead of them. The small blue planet looked peaceful and defenseless. Sensors show no human ships, reported his tactical officer. The system appears empty. Krexvon nodded, but something felt wrong. The same feeling he'd had before they lost 2 fleets to invisible enemies. Maintain full alert. The humans are here somewhere. Hidden throughout the solar system, 120 human ships waited in perfect silence. Admiral Kate Sullivan commanded them from her invisible flagship. She had spent months planning this battle, studying every detail of alien tactics. All ships, this is Sullivan. The moment we've prepared for is here. Remember, they can't fight what they can't see. Stay invisible until you fire, then move immediately to your next position. Jake Morrison listened to the Admiral's words from the bridge of the Silent Thunder. His ship was positioned directly above the alien fleet. Lisa Parker had weapons locked on 5 targets at once. Captain, she said quietly, we're outnumbered 4-1. Jake smiled. They think numbers matter. They're about to learn different. The alien fleet spread out as it entered Earth's orbit. Krexvon divided his forces into attack groups, each one targeting a different part of the planet. He would make the humans watch their world die piece by piece. Begin bombardment of the northern continent, he ordered. That was the signal Kate had been waiting for. All ships, attack now. Space exploded into chaos. 120 human vessels appeared. From nothing, their weapons already firing. The aliens found themselves surrounded by enemies that had materialized like ghosts. The Zephyrian formation shattered as invisible attackers struck from every direction. Ships that had seemed invincible moments before became burning wreckage. The perfectly ordered fleet turned into a confused mass of panicking vessels. Jake's ship led the main assault, targeting the alien command vessels with surgical precision. The Silent Thunder's guns spoke once, twice, 3 times. Each shot destroyed a Zephyrian cruiser. Direct hit on their flagship, Lisa reported. Krexvon's ship is heavily damaged. On the Eternal Glory, alarms were screaming. The bridge was filled with smoke and sparks. Krexvon pulled himself up from the floor, blood running down his crystal face. Return fire, he shouted. All weapons, maximum power. Sir, we can't target the enemy ships. They disappear as soon as they fire. Krexvon watched his fleet die around him. Hundreds of years of Zephyrian naval tradition were being destroyed by enemies he couldn't see or fight. It was like trying to battle shadows. Amy Rodriguez commanded her wolf pack with deadly efficiency. 6 human ships struck at the alien rearguard, then vanished before the Zephyrians could respond. Each attack left more burning alien hulks drifting in space. "Target the ships trying to reach Earth," she ordered. "Don't let any of them through." The few Zephyrian vessels that broke away from the main battle found themselves hunted by invisible predators. Human ships appeared like sharks, struck without mercy, then disappeared back into nothingness. Colonel Rick Stone watched the battle from his hidden base on the moon. Burning alien ships were falling toward Earth like deadly rain. His ground forces were ready if any enemies made it to the surface. "Sir, 3 alien vessels are attempting to land near New York," his lieutenant reported. "Send the Ghost Battalion. Make sure none of them survive." The 3 Zephyrian ships crashed into the Atlantic Ocean. As alien soldiers emerged from the wreckage, they found themselves facing human Marines with weapons they had never seen before. The battle was over in minutes. Back in space, the massacre continued. Admiral Sullivan coordinated her invisible fleet with the skill of a master chess player. Every move was calculated, every attack precisely timed. "Enemy formation is collapsing," reported her tactical officer. "They're trying to retreat. Don't let them escape. I want every alien ship destroyed or captured." Dr. Alan Hughes monitored the battle from his laboratory. The quantum dampening fields were working perfectly. Human ships remained invisible even while firing their weapons. It was technology beyond anything the aliens had imagined. "Tony, are you picking up their communications?" he asked. Tony Martinez nodded grimly. "They're screaming for help, calling for reinforcements. Some of them are saying the humans must be demons or gods." "Good. Fear is spreading through their ranks." On Nexus Prime, Emperor Vexistar was receiving reports that shattered his understanding of the universe. His grand fleet, the pride of the Empire, was being destroyed by invisible enemies. "This is impossible," he whispered. 500 ships cannot be defeated by primitives." But the reports kept coming. Ship after ship confirmed, destroyed. Crews reporting attacks by enemies they couldn't see. The greatest military force in galactic history was being torn apart. In Earth's orbit, the battle was reaching its end. Of the 500 Zephyrian warships that had come to destroy humanity, fewer than 50 remained. Most were damaged and trying desperately to escape. General Krexvan's flagship was burning and powerless. His crystal body was broken in several places. Around him, his bridge crew was dead or dying. "Sir, we must surrender," gasped his communications officer. Krexvan looked at the human ships surrounding his vessel. They had appeared from nowhere, guns trained on his helpless flagship. For 3,000 years, no one had dared to defeat a Zephyrian fleet. Now his entire armada was destroyed. "Open a channel to the human commander," he said quietly. Jake Morrison's face appeared on the alien view screen. The human captain looked calm and professional, not like the savage primitive Krexvan had expected. "General Krexvan," Jake said, "your fleet is defeated. Surrender now and your surviving crews will be treated according to the laws of war." Krexvan felt the weight of 3 millennia of imperial pride crushing down on him. But pride meant nothing when faced with the reality of total defeat. "I surrender," he said. The words echoed across the galaxy as Tony Martinez broadcast them on all Zephyrian frequencies. Every subject world heard their conquerors admit defeat. Every slave species learned that the invincible empire could be beaten. Admiral Sullivan surveyed the aftermath of the battle. Burning alien wrecks drifted through space like broken dreams. The largest fleet in galactic history had lasted 6 hours against humanity's invisible defenders. "Casualties?" she asked. 7 ships damaged, none destroyed. No human lives lost. Kate smiled. The Battle of Sol was over, but she knew this was just the beginning. Across the galaxy, the Zephyrian Empire was beginning to crumble, and humanity was just getting started. 6 months after the Battle of Sol, the Zephyrian Empire was dying. News of the defeat had spread across the galaxy like wildfire. On 1,000 worlds, slave species remembered what freedom meant. Rebellions broke out in every corner of the Empire. Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his new ship, the Freedom's dawn. The Silent Thunder had been destroyed 3 months ago in a battle to liberate the Kepler system. Jake had survived, but many good people hadn't. That was the price of war. "Captain, we're approaching Nexus Prime," Lisa Parker reported from her station. She had stayed with Jake through every battle, every victory and loss. Through the view screen, Jake could see the Zephyrian capital world. Once it had been the center of galactic power. Now it was the last stronghold of a broken empire. "How many ships does the Emperor have left?" Jake asked. "Maybe 50, replied Steve Blake. "All that remains of their once great fleet." "Admiral," Kate Sullivan's voice came through the communication system. She was commanding the final assault from her flagship, hidden among the other invisible human vessels surrounding the planet. "All ships, this is Sullivan. Today we end 3,000 years of tyranny. The galaxy will finally be free." On Nexus Prime, Emperor Vextar sat alone in his crystal throne room. The walls around him were cracked and dim. Most of his palace staff had fled or joined the rebellion that was spreading through his own capital city. Dr. Zalkar entered the throne room, his crystal body showing signs of damage from recent fighting. "My lord, the humans have arrived. Our sensors detect nothing, but we know they're out there." Vextar laughed bitterly. "Invisible ships. Who would have thought the galaxy's fate would be decided by enemies we cannot see? There's still time to surrender, my lord. The humans have offered fair terms to worlds that give up peacefully." "Surrender?" Vextar's voice echoed through the empty hall. "I am the Emperor of the galaxy. I do not surrender to anyone." But even as he spoke, the old ruler knew his empire was finished. Reports came in daily of more worlds declaring independence. His generals were dead or had switched sides. His fleets were destroyed or scattered. Colonel Rick Stone was leading the ground assault on Nexus Prime. His Marines had landed on the planet's surface without being detected. Now they moved through the Crystal City like ghosts, taking control of key locations. "Sir, we've secured the spaceport," his lieutenant reported. "No resistance. Most of the garrison has already surrendered." Rick nodded. The Zephyrians had lost their will to fight. 3,000 years of easy victories had made them soft. When faced with real opposition, they broke like glass. In space above the planet, Amy Rodriguez commanded a squadron of stealth ships. Her orders were to destroy any alien vessels that tried to escape. So far, none had even tried. "Ma'am, we're picking up a transmission from the palace," her communications officer said. "Put it through." Emperor Vextar's face appeared on the screen. He looked old and broken, nothing like the proud ruler who had once commanded a galaxy. "Human commanders, I am Emperor Vextar. I challenge your leader to single combat. If I win, you leave my empire alone. If you win, I will surrender." Amy shook her head. "The Emperor wants to play games. Should I respond?" Kate Sullivan's voice came through the channel. "Ignore him. We're not here to play by his rules." The final assault began at dawn. Human ships appeared all around Nexus Prime, their weapons trained on the remaining Zephyrian vessels. But instead of firing, they simply waited. Jake's ship led the way toward the planet's surface. As they descended through the atmosphere, he could see crystal cities burning below. The rebellion had reached even the capital world. "Tony, open a channel to all frequencies," Jake ordered. Tony Martinez worked his controls. "You're broadcasting to the entire planet, sir." Jake took a deep breath. This moment would be remembered in history books for 1,000 years. "People of Nexus Prime, this is Captain Jake Morrison of the Human Liberation Fleet. Your Emperor's reign of terror is over. Any who wish to surrender will be treated with mercy. Any who continue to fight will face the consequences." In his throne room, Vextar heard the humans' words echoing through his palace. Outside, he could hear the sound of his own people cheering. They were celebrating their freedom from his rule. Dr. Zalkar approached the throne carefully. "My lord, it's over. The palace is surrounded. Our remaining ships are surrendering." Vextar stood up slowly. In his hand was an ancient weapon, a crystal blade that had belonged to the first emperor. "I will not live to see my empire destroyed," he said. But before he could use the weapon, the throne room doors burst open. Colonel Stone entered with a squad of human marines. Their weapons were raised but not firing. "Emperor Vextar, you are under arrest for crimes against sentient beings," Rick said formally. The old ruler looked at the humans who had destroyed his empire. They were so small compared to his crystal warriors. Yet they had accomplished what no species had managed in 3 millennia. "How?" he whispered. "How did primitives defeat the greatest empire in galactic history?" Jake Morrison entered the throne room. He looked at the broken emperor with something that might have been pity. "You made one mistake," Jake said quietly. "You thought being strong meant making others weak. You thought ruling meant enslaving. You forgot that freedom makes people fight harder than fear ever could." Vextar dropped his weapon. The sound of crystal hitting crystal echoed through the silent room. "I surrender," he said. 1 year later, Jake stood in the same throne room. But now it was different. The crystal walls had been replaced with viewing windows that showed the city below. Instead of a throne, there was a round table where representatives from 50 different species worked together. President Helen Davis was addressing the new Galactic Council. "Today marks the first anniversary of freedom. Never again will one species rule over all others. Never again will might make right." Admiral Sullivan approached Jake as the ceremony continued. "What are you thinking about?" she asked. "The silent. Thunder," Jake replied. "All the ships we lost, all the people who died to make this possible." Kate nodded. "They're not forgotten. Every free world in the galaxy owes them a debt." Through the windows, Jake could see the new fleet patrolling the system. Ships from dozens of worlds, all working together to keep the peace. The invisible warships that had started the revolution were still out there, still hidden, still watching. Tony Martinez joined them at the window. "Sir, we're getting reports from the Outer Rim. Some of the old Zephyrian hardliners are trying to start a new empire." Jake smiled. "Let them try. They'll learn the same lesson their emperor did. Freedom isn't just for humans anymore. It's for everyone." The warship no one had observed had become legend. But the real victory wasn't in the battles they had won. It was in the galaxy they had helped create, a place where all species could live free under the light of distant stars.